This meeting appears to be quite small because closer for Christmas. It's like a lot of people have went to holidays, to vacations, and yeah, the spirit of holidays around. And actually, we can celebrate as well because we have completed the regression and completed the preparation for the first release of Adobe Stock Integration. First version right now, 1.0.0. And yeah, right now we're completely shifting to developing of the next milestone and version 1.1. So let's start the demonstration. Does anybody want to show their pull requests?
I can start.
Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, 1 second. I will share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So today I will present only one pull request I made these holidays. So I implemented next functionality. I provided comments for the Adobe Stock Asset module. So I replaced repository, some method of the repository with a comments approach. And the most maybe interesting part here that with this we exclude using the source model completely. So I implemented save, get by ID, delayed by ID comments, and provided interfaces for it, and also some refactoring. So for example, what I did 1 second. So I clean up code and make it more maybe clear in this example, for example. So if we inside the category repository and we see the save method, so we see not item but category. So this change allows us to make our code really clear for understanding and just user-friendly. Updated some unit tests, and yep, maybe that's all from this. It's quite big, but it has a lot of things in common in every module. So yep, maybe that's all from me.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting. Yeah, the first change you did there is quite interesting. That static function.
You mean static? Static, yes. I will return it. 1 second. Yeah. Just this like a micro optimization. So when you make it static, it operates a little bit faster. So I will try to provide some notes about it. I read an article about the performance and PHP native function in the scope of the latest PHP update 7.4. And yes, I saw that static in that case will boost a little bit performance, especially when you work with some data source arrays.
Nice. Actually, I think that almost all of the functions we use for working with arrays, like for all the anonymous functions, are actually static, right?
Yeah. It's logical firstly, and just boost the performance. And one interesting thing, I started this. So if when you will check, you will see that I started to use this short syntaxes for not short, but maybe united syntaxes for namespace for included module. Sorry. You see?
Yeah, I saw that. Nice.
Yeah, and maybe that's all.
Yeah, I have a couple of more comments actually.
Okay.
The first one is, yeah, we have to be cautious about changing the API public functions signature from now on, because we're going to release the version 1.0 and all the API that is available there, all the code. Actually, we shouldn't change the signatures of the public functions to stay backward compatible. Backward compatibility policy from now on is applicable to our project as well. So that can be a problem. Still, there are no real signature changes in this pull request. You have just renamed the variable there. But I guess that it will trigger the semantic version checker failure.
But we maybe can do something with this semantic version checker, because you see, of course I will change everything you marked as just backwards incompatible changes, but maybe in that case we should talk about this semantic version checker, because I do not see any reason why we're not able to change the property name, I mean variable name, if it's just to make code clear. But it's just a topic for discussion. But if it's required to be changed, I will change everything.
Yeah, if somebody is calling that that method as API, right? And if somebody is calling it as a callback and providing arguments by name, for example, as an array,
yeah.
it can be an issue.
Okay, but can you please mark what it needs to be changed? Because
yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. I will do adjustments.
Yeah, and one more thing is actually I noticed there are a lot of parts in our code when we are catching an exception, then we are logging it, and then we are throwing it to the next, throwing another extension, like catching the exception, then logging, and then throwing integration exception, for example. And if to review several workflows, it appears that sometimes we are logging the same exception several times during the call. So I'm not sure if that is applicable to the code added here, but yeah, just in general for everybody to check. Like if we should have one layer of login exceptions, like if the exception is really critical and we are not going to display it to the user, that the exception is not for user, it is for developer. It should be logged once, not just to fill the log with spam, like the same exceptions logged several times. That's not a critical issue. That's not a big issue. That's just some convenience for developers, for administrators who will work with logs.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Okay. Anyone else would like to show the pull requests? So, yeah, we had several pull requests last week. I think that some of the contributors who made the pull request are not present on the call. So probably I will just go through pull requests to give you the update through the most visible and important ones. Yeah, let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So the first pull request, I believe that was created by Sergey Jovner from Matrix. That is the pagination for our grid. So right now it's not unlimited in size. And while it connects to 130 records, that's the new media gallery development page. we are able to paginate. I'm not sure if we would like to add the pagination at the bottom, like as it is on Adobe Stock Integration. In Adobe Stock Integration grid, probably it will be useful as well. So if somebody would like to go for some good first issue, some easy pull request, yeah, I think adding it at the bottom will just make it a bit simpler for user to navigate when the pages scroll down. And we are going to display the grid in a smaller, like in a slide panel as a media gallery, so the content will be not so wide and a bit longer. So once you scroll at the bottom, especially when preview is opened, it will be handy to use the pagination at the bottom as well. Then another cool improvement for Adobe Stock Integration, actually. Let me go to Adobe Stock Integration grid. I hope it works here because I'm on my development branch. Yes, so the loader for the related images was added. That was added by Nazar, who is on the call right now. As you can see, we can the user can now understand that something is loading in the backend, not just in an empty space. I think it looks really nice. Yes, and then there was one more pull request by Yaroslav. I'm not sure that I will be able to show it to you right now, but it's basically about the hiding tabs when more from this series images are not available, or more from this module images are not available. They are empty. Basically, we will display on the tab that has the content and switch and switch the tabs depending on this. So if more from the series is empty, the tab will not be present, will not be visible, and more from this model will be selected and displayed. Probably the best way, I'm sure that I will find the image that doesn't have series or model, but the pull request is adding the check for the items in series and model, and basically using the if binding hides the necessary tabs. And there is one snippet of code that is required to just select the model tab if series tab is empty. Fortunately, we cannot work we cannot apply bindings to mage tabs widgets, so we had to do it using jQuery. So yes, Shankar implemented the Media Gallery UI API module. Basically, that's a module declaration that contains all the basic files for a module, and config interface was introduced as well. With is-enabled module. Probably this interface later might have more methods as we will add additional configuration. Alex, what do you think about it?
I don't know at this moment, but to think.
Oh, okay.
About configuration, right?
Yeah. Like, I know that you recently refactored another config interface.
Yes,
basically
about
remove the
this.
config interface and replace this with a service. Right now we added the config interface that contains just one method is enabled. I guess there will be more methods for assessing configuration. Do you still think we should go with service approach or
Yeah,
config or
yes. Sorry to interrupt you, just maybe the internet connection was bad. So I think next. So if we have one method in the config class, yes, maybe it's okay to use the name config like a pattern config. But if this class starts implementing more methods, for example, is enabled, get API key, get something else key, it becomes a helper because config pattern requires to have one method config object. Yes, we do not config any kind of objects with our Magento general config class. We just use it like a proxy into the settings. And what we do in a code, we call the config class and ask config class to get some value from the system configuration. So, and in this case, I think the config class with more than one method becomes a helper. Helper is just like a bad practice, and also it's like anti-pattern in object-oriented programming. So this is why I prefer to use maybe namespace, for example, Adobe Stock Asset Module model config, and then just is enabled or just get some other value. It makes the whole structure more clear and solid and keys. So this is my understanding of this.
okay, thanks. Well, I actually think that config is not the config in classic Magento config class is not similar to helper. Helper, I think, helpers are, yeah, that is an anti-pattern that is a class containing different snippets of code not related between each other. But I'm thinking about the config pattern as a config approach that is used as Magento like an adapter, because basically all the configuration can be fetched directly from scope config interface, right? And the config class that you use for the module is basically an adapter to scope config that is fetching the information from scope config interface. Well, at some point it can be switched or replaced. Let's say the implementation can be replaced for fetching config elsewhere, or just changing the path to configuration without affecting the implementation. And having one class in place with all the method assessing the only dependency actually that is scope configuration is handy for such for changing adapters in that in my opinion.
Yes, I completely agree with you with this, but if we will use this approach, maybe we can rename the config to the config adapter. In this case, it will be more clear, I think. But again, it's just only my opinion.
Okay.
Config adapter, really, the config reader, it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, got it. I think let's currently stick to the conservative approach at this stage. Then we'll see how, because I'm sure we'll need a couple of more methods in the configuration, and once we'll add the second one, we'll revisit this and think if we should split, apply the command approach to config interface as well, or should we keep it as a single interface?
Yeah, completely agree with you.
Okay. Thank you. Then, yeah, a couple of pull requests from you, Alex, right? There was unit test coverage. Also, the same approach, several unit tests per one class to separate the test cases. And improving the callback action error handling.
Yes, maybe this one is interesting.
Yeah, would you like to showcase
Yeah,
it?
I can just explain the main idea of this pull request. What we get with this new feature, we validate request, callback request from the Adobe Stock authentication server before we do any other request. So what does it mean? For example, previously, if an error occurred before we sent a request for authentication token, we didn't know about this anything, and we show the standard message to the end user, for example, something went wrong and please check your API credential. But now we check if the callback request contains the error parameter, and if error parameter is set, we show an error with the additional message we received from the Adobe Stock authentication service. With this, we provide to the end user user-friendly, niceful notification about something really went wrong, and this should help Magento admin users to find solution quickly for their customer.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for showcase. I think it's a helpful addition because probably there are several places still in Adobe Stock Integration where we have an opportunity to display more detailed error for the user. And that was one of those places. So thanks for this. And basically, I guess that's it for demo, unless anybody else would like to show anything else or if there are any questions. Okay, so we have some time left. Would we like to discuss the performance concern that we had on a previous meeting?
Yeah, it will be good.
Do you have any updates, any things related to performance, or not yet?
I have I started this discussion about the performance during the media gallery load or folder, just because we read files directly from the file system, and just I'm afraid that we can reach some performance problems during this read operation, but this is only my feelings and thoughts. I'm working on just proof of concept of this problem, and just I don't know how I tried to profile this load action, but can show some statistic results only next week, unfortunately. So next demo I will present the result. But one more idea is just maybe we should think about the moving the media gallery information to the database, just because you see that the image inside the file system, it's just the end of any operation made from the admin. For example, when you upload image to the media gallery, you first open the Magento widget yes, and select the file, then press upload. So in any case, the image appears at the file system only after when you do something in the Magento admin, or maybe if you upload those images from the third-party systems. So you are not allowed just to copy-paste image data to the media gallery folder. If you do this, it means that you do this directly from the SSH or just, I don't know, from your local machine through the SFTP and so on and so on. It's the first point. And the second point, according to the issue I mentioned in the discussion, I didn't remember this, where you request the filter for the new media gallery. In this issue, you provide a screenshot where I see that we need to show not only the image name, but also image dimensions and image file type, and also some other information. I think that this will also increase the load time, because you need to take an image, you need to prepare this information, you need to structure it, and I believe that maybe in the future clients will request next. We need a filter, for example, by image type, and for me it's quite questionable to implement this without any performance degradation. So imagine station, you have 100 and 1000, I don't know, images with different types, and you want to have a filter, for example, JPEG and PNG. And when you will switch between those filters, you will need to read files only with the selected type and show it on the front end. And maybe the most tricky thing is just to try to find an image by name. For example, again, you have an enormous amount of images, and you just forget the image name, but you really need it on a product page. But you remember that the image name contains the word, for example, rose, yes, and how you will try to find it. I think in this case, maybe we should think about some data storage approach for this. But this is only my thoughts based on personal experience. It's not just ultimate complaint.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, nothing to complain about because that's not implemented yet. And it's I hope, and it's up to us how we are going to do this. And actually, I was thinking about your proposition to do the index or filters. Yeah, we might need filters by modification date, filters by the resolution of the picture, maybe some other filters, tags, definitely, and we should, like starting from milestone 4, when we are going to generate tags for every uploaded image, we are supposed to have to be able to find the image by tags. We are supposed to have tags for every image in the system, just because we'll not be able to use this filter efficiently if we don't have tags for some of them. So probably we'll have to go with some kind of indexer here. I mean, the indexer that will scan the file system, find all images, get the information from the images, and put them to database tables that we actually have already created. The media gallery asset that should contain the basic information about the image, and media gallery keywords should be able to be populated by index in future. Just once you install the new Magento version, let's say, or once you install the Adobe Stock Integration, the images information will be basically empty. And extended functionality that we're going to implement for the media gallery will not be too efficient with the empty information database. So we should provide an ability for admin user to index all the pictures that they have, generate keywords for them, store the information about picture size, about stores the information that will be required by our filters, and then we can quickly search for images using the database and load in the pictures from file system. What do you think about it?
It's great. I mean that the thing you just described is what we really need. So because if we will have this indexer, we will be able to solve all those cases I mentioned before your description of the future of the media gallery. So I completely agree that it's really nice approach. With the media gallery and this reindex, we will be able to solve any performance issue. And again, if we will have this index, if we will see any problem with the performance or any other request from the product owners in future, we'll be able to implement it. I mean, data storage, because we have index, and based on the index, we can create any database structure, data storage structure, sorry. So yeah, I think it's great. No need to think about the data storage at this moment, but think about the file system reading. And again, we're just in the 21st century. PHP is super fast and can read everything from the file system really fast. So I think we will not have any problem, and maybe I will close this performance issue. Thank you for nice explanation. Really cool.
Okay, then I think we'll go with that approach. I will add it as a task as well, or probably as several tasks actually. Yeah, that indexer should be extensible as well, so that extension developers can add their filters and use the index entry point for their indexing as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, Alex, you are actually helping a lot with identifying some critical things that has to be investigated and has to be brought up and has to be separated as separate tasks and implemented on the project. I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, basically that's it for our small meeting. So I think, yeah, have a nice week, guys. Check out the backlog. Right now it's as big as it can be because almost all milestone 3 tasks are there, and we managed to make almost all the tasks independent, without any dependencies on other tasks. So you can check out and start doing any task without being afraid that there is a dependency. Right now we are working on a separate page. I guess soon we'll move the media gallery we are now developing to the slide panel and actually replace the existing media gallery, having switched in the configuration. That's also, by the way, a task. A bit more complicated if somebody is interested in it. So thanks for participating, thanks for contributing, thanks for making this project happen, actually, and continue happening. See you on GitHub, or see you at the next meeting, or in Slack. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.